In the wild forests of Yukon, Canada, there was a park ranger named Ethan. He had dedicated his life to protecting nature and wildlife. His job was not just about patrolling, but also about fighting threats from humans, poachers, environmental destroyers, and natural dangers. But perhaps the story I'm about to tell you is one of the most unforgettable moments of his career. One misty morning, Ethan drove through the forest trails to check on the conservation area. Everything seemed peaceful until he heard a strange sound echoing through the trees. It wasn't the wind or birds. It was a sound of pain, desperation, something crying out for help. Ethan's heart pounded. He knew the forest held dangers, but one thing mattered more than anything. If someone needed help, he would not hesitate. Following the sound, Ethan moved deeper into the woods. The closer he got, the more his spine tingled. Finally, he discovered a scene that made him freeze. A fully grown black bear was trapped in a series of vicious snares. Its front leg was crushed in a steel trap, barbed wire wrapped around its body, and a tightening wire loop choked its neck. Every movement only made its wounds worse, with blood staining its thick fur. The bear's eyes were filled with agony and despair. Normally, a black bear could be very dangerous, especially when injured. But Ethan noticed something different. The bear wasn't growling or trying to attack. Instead, it just looked at him as if realizing he was its only hope. Slowly, Ethan lowered his rifle, signaling that he meant no harm. Cautiously, he approached. He started by cutting the wire around the bear's neck, knowing that if he didn't, the animal could suffocate. Each time the wire tightened, the bear whimpered in pain, but it didn't resist. Then, Ethan carefully untangled the barbed wire embedded in its skin. It took nearly 20 minutes, but most of the restraints were finally removed. The hardest part remained, the steel trap gripping the bear's front leg. Ethan took a deep breath and placed his hands on the steel jaws, using all his strength to pry them open. But the trap was too tight, and the bear was still in extreme pain. Realizing he needed assistance, Ethan called the local wildlife rescue center. While waiting, he sat beside the bear, speaking to it in a calming voice. Something incredible happened. The bear stopped being afraid. It lay down, seeming to trust the human before it. Before long, the rescue team arrived. They sedated the bear to prevent distress, then carefully removed the steel trap, treated its wounds, and transported it to the clinic. There, veterinarians confirmed that the bear had been trapped for several days. It was dehydrated, exhausted, and its wounds had become infected. An emergency surgery was performed, saving the animal from further harm. As the bear recovered, Ethan and his colleagues began investigating the area. They found multiple other traps scattered throughout the forest. This wasn't an isolated incident. Someone was illegally hunting wildlife in the region. Ethan reported the situation to the authorities, and a full-scale investigation was launched. After weeks of surveillance, they finally caught the person responsible, a man secretly setting traps to poach wild animals. He was arrested, and all remaining snares were removed from the area. It was a major victory for nature and the innocent creatures that lived in the forest. After months of treatment, the black bear fully recovered. On the day of its release, Ethan and the rescue team transported it to a safe area, far from human interference. As the cage door opened, the bear took slow steps forward, breathing in the fresh air of freedom. But before vanishing into the wilderness, it turned back and looked at Ethan one last time. A brief moment, but filled with gratitude. Ethan smiled. This was why he did his job. Not for fame or money, but for moments like this when humans and nature could truly understand each other. Ethan's story and the black bear's rescue serve as a testament to compassion, bravery, and the true meaning of wildlife conservation. It is also a reminder that every small act of kindness can lead to a big change. If you love stories like this, don't forget to support the silent heroes like Ethan, those who dedicate their lives to protecting the wild for future generations.